Here in South Carolina, Governor Sanford has heeded the call. The time has come, the need is great, and the children are ready to receive an education they rightly deserve.
When the Sanford family moved from Charleston to Columbia, South Carolina, they had a big concern. Where would their kids go to school?
First thing I did was look up on the computer, where are we zoned? What schools would those be?
You have to go where you're zoned.
You go where you're zoned.
In South Carolina and most everywhere, you must attend the public school in the zone where you live. But the middle school near the Sanford's new home was rated below average. It turned out, however, this wasn't a problem for them, because the reason they were moving to Columbia was that Mark had just been elected governor.
Duly installed as governor of South Carolina.
So they were offered special options. People from better school districts invited them to send their kids to those schools.
And I said, but that's not fair, because if I lived down the street here, they wouldn't be allowed to do that. Would I be allowed to do that? And they said, no, you would not. He said, but we're going to waive that requirement because you're the governor. And I said, that's not fair.
It's not fair, but that's often how it works in America. As we showed you, the kids of the privileged can escape bad schools by moving to where the better schools are.
If you could buy a $250,000 or $300,000 house, you're going to get some great public education.
But most everyone else is stuck with what the government gives you.
Being in a public school system, no matter how much you complain about it, no matter how much you cry about what's going on with your children are stuck because of their zip code.
These South Carolina parents say their kids' public schools were bad.
They're not teaching the kids.
If you hadn't pulled him out of the public schools,
I think it would have ruined his life.
Dale's grandson said some of his public school teachers helped him pass tests by telling him to cheat.
they were giving him the answers?
They were giving him the answers, and he said, they're teaching me to cheat so they could pass him on to the next grade. The No Child Left Behind thing, you know. Send him on up to the next class. Get him out of here. They really did not care.
Lizzie Murphy's son was in kindergarten for a year without learning the basics of writing.
He just learned to write his name, and that's through me telling him that an M is a hump hump. A kindergarten could barely write his name. What's going on? What are you doing?
What are they doing? If you compare SAT scores state by state, South Carolina ranks last.
I want to tell you that if you look at every indicator for South Carolina schools, South Carolina is not last.
Inez Tenenbaum has been state superintendent for schools since 1998.
We have been ranked as having some of the highest standards of learning in the entire country.
Well, maybe you set high standards, but the kids don't achieve them.
We are ranked #1 in the country for improvement on SAT.
But
32
if you start
points.
at the bottom, it's easier to improve. You've improved and you're still last.
SAT is an indicator that really shouldn't be used to judge any state. We're making tremendous progress in South Carolina, and we're very proud.
Why be proud? Half the kids who start high school in South Carolina don't graduate in 4 years. And the state's first family was afraid to send their kids to the school they were zoned for.
It's too important to me to sacrifice their education. I get one shot at it. If I don't pay very close attention to how my boys get educated, then I've lost an opportunity to make them the best they can be in this world.
They decided to send their kids to private school. And the governor then proposed giving every parent in South Carolina that kind of choice.
Does one size ever fit all?
He said state tax credits should help parents pay for private schools. Then they would have a choice.
Choice is external pressure. The public has to know that there's an alternative there. It's just like, you know, do you get a Sprint phone or an AT&T phone?
I jotted down just a couple of questions, simple yes-no answers, and I'd be curious to get y'all's thoughts on these. I jotted them down, and the first one was, do you think that schools in South Carolina could be improved and that it's worth the effort? Okay. All right. Do you think that there is truth in this notion that if you keep on doing what you've been doing, you're going to keep on getting what you've been getting? How many of y'all think that God makes each child, each young person, each baby different from day one? All right. If you're with me on those three, then I got three more questions for you, and that is, one, does one size ever fit all? All right. How many of y'all think that all children learn the same way? How many of you think that people will generally take responsibility for something that they have no choice in? A little hesitant on that one, but we'll go with a no. All right. Here's what's interesting to me, though, and that is, as I think about those issues, I think that I could ask any person in South Carolina those 6 questions and basically get the same response. But the difference between them and you is that y'all chose to take time out of your day to convert thought to action. Because thought without action is just an idea, and I want to commend every one of you all for being involved in this debate, which I think is vital to the future of South Carolina.
More money, please, say the South Carolina school officials.
How much money would be right?
How much? Ooh, millions, and it would really make it right.
They're spending $10,000 per kid now. $15,000? $20,000?
$20,000, $25,000, $30,000. The more, the better.
To say that competition is going to improve education, it's just not going to work. You know, competition is not for children. It's not for human beings. It's not for public education. It never has been. It never will be.
Why not? Would you keep going back to a restaurant that served you a bad meal? Or a barber that gave you a bad haircut? Competition makes everything better. Why would schools be different? In the few places where vouchers have been allowed, like Milwaukee, the kids who used vouchers did better, and the kids in nearby public schools did better.
They improved by leaps and bounds. No one lost in Milwaukee. Everyone did better. The kids at the regular public schools did better, and the kids who went to the voucher schools did better.
Of course they did. That's what competition does.
Choice, to me, is the only way, I believe, that we can force the system from an external vantage point to change itself. It will never change itself from within. Public education will never change. All the reform.
These are well-intended people who want to help kids.
All the well-intended designs and programs du jour, unless there is some competition infused in the equation, unless that occurs, then they know they have a captive monopoly that they can continue to dominate.
But if there were competition, if parents had a choice, the possibilities of what we could have are limitless.
You can give public schools all the money in America and it will not be enough. Everyone has been conned. I'm not doing it today, okay?
Ben Chavis is a former public school principal who now runs this alternative school that spends thousands of dollars less per student. He laughs at the public school's complaints about money.
They all say it's the answer.
No, it's not.
We just need a little more money.
That is the biggest lie in America. They waste money. It's not about the money.
But what about kids who've come from broken families, poor families?
Give me the poor kids, and I will outperform the wealthy kids who live in the hills. And we do it.
Other spunky independent schools do well with less money, like this one in South Carolina run by Teresa Middleton. We saw that the kids here were enthusiastic about learning.
My children are so excited. Can we play this today? Can we do popcorn? Can we do relay math? Can we play bingo? Can we play phonics around the world? Learning should be fun.
And fun seems to teach. These first graders can read.
Get ready to work.
I've had 3-year-olds sounding out words. My below average child can go to public school and make the honor roll.
Yet she spends only $3,000 per child versus the $9,000 South Carolina's public schools spend. And still fail to educate students like Dorian Kane.
My son is now